Exactly.
Listen, Penguin King. I subscribe to the Star Flash method, where if you're not playing your turn within like a day, I assume you're gonna time out.
That's a very toxic method.
As long as it's not 0 seconds, you still have time. The
That's why I'm.
Go7 method.
Yeah.
We
That's
are
part of the
live
problem.
now.
I survive on the increment, like in, in every game.
So you used up all the time you had, and that was very interesting. Now, let's start off with Kanbei. What did you think of the map, Kanbei?
It's a pretty classical standard map. It's kind of like on the older side of things because there's no comm tower, and that can make it a bit stallier than usual. Because so like there's a lot of like tanks parking on cities here usually, and since without the tower, very few CEOs can actually get the 2-hit KO. I think actually only Max can do it without a tower. It can lead to like making it very hard to push into like tanks sitting on cities. So it kind of forces artillery in that regard. But then if artillery is too good, like you get two people building artilleries and staring at each other, and then nothing happens. So I think the map tends to stall, but you can see like it does have like some dynamic play if someone or both players don't play accurately, which is I think what happened here.
So you think you didn't play well and he played well, and this is what happened. That's interesting.
That's so
I don't
mean.
think I played badly, but I think like Go7 just played the map so much better than I did that it looked like I played badly.
I mean that's how it goes.
So Go7,
Yeah, I don't think you made like any mistakes.
What do you think about the map?
This was my first time playing the map. I think I had seen a game on it in a replay that I covered briefly. And then that replay, there was a lot of artillery locks happening. Yeah, that's right. And I saw that both players went for a very odd choice with their like early infantries with these back caps that when I was watching the replay, I thought was really, really bad. So I didn't do that in our game.
So I see that I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So
And I saw that the engagements kind of happened on the sides, and then the middle, and then the sides again. Is
Okay.
what I had seen.
Okay. Now, Kantbei, why Cole?
I just saw like there were a lot of roads around, and honestly, in Tier 4, there's not a whole lot of choices really. Like, if you assume there's gonna be a lot of fighting on the sides, Cole is pretty good because like there are a lot of roads. Jake doesn't have that many planes to play with because like all the plane tiles are actually on the wrong squares. Like if you think about it, if you're attacking from like the Cobalt Ice position into like the pink position, the two planes that you can like the two planes adjacent to the city that you'd want to take, which is the one closer to like the pink base, are behind the city. So like you somehow have to like maneuver two tanks behind the city to kill a tank there, which is like not realistic, right? In the center there are some planes, but it's mostly forests and shoals that it's not clear to me Jake really has ideas there either. So like Jake's out. The other
Yeah,
like actual pick is Adder because Adder's always good, right? Jess because he actually can 2-hit KO stuff on COP turns and he has a good COP. The problem is his infantry suck. So, you know.
Jess is
So,
a girl,
yeah.
bro. Jess is a girl. Why do you see E is? That's a
Sorry,
girl,
her
bro.
infantry suck.
Yeah. It's important to note that broken pipe seams do not count as planes. So
Oh really? I
Well, they
didn't
do
know that.
actually.
They
The
do?
damage
Did they change
calculator.
it?
So it was always like that. It's just that the damage calculator doesn't know that. But they
the
run some
damage
tests on like
okay.
yeah, they ran some tests on it. Like they tried it on like several pipes, like broken pipe seams versus planes, and
Mhm.
it ended up being like almost the same damage value.
Okay. It's just the damage calculator doesn't realize.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's very interesting. I always knew in the original game the broken pipe seam are considered planes, but on Advance Wars Bioweb I actually didn't know. So this is good to know. Now, Go7, I like your pick. Why Jugger, bruh? I need an explanation there.
Why Jugger? For one, I think Cole is a very good pick on this map, with no comm tower. There's a lot of good roads, and you're able to get to the greater damage thresholds very well with the powers. But I chose, of course, Jugger because the Luxios of Flak and Jugger were allowed in Tier 4.
Yeah.
And they're definitely, at least in my opinion, they're a lot better than just Tier 4. They're borderline Tier 3. They're like almost Lash levels of good.
Really? I need you to work out on that because you didn't sold me the idea. Why do you think they are borderline 3?
Well, it's because they get to ignore the damage matrix for unit matchups. Because that's what luck damage does. It doesn't care what unit's hitting what unit.
Yeah.
So a lot of engagements. You've also got bad luck, but that's fine.
That's fine when
the
you
good
can
luck.
kill Copter.
Yeah, the good luck will greatly outweigh the bad luck if you're having very cost-effective attacks.
Basically, just roll high every attack, easy clap. If you get bad luck rolls, it's a skill issue.
No, you go for the rolls. But there's also the problem of your opponent can't safely harass your infantry. Although I think in this game, there's only a few times that Kantbei got punished. I think there's only like 2 times that you lost a vehicle hit point for hitting an infantry.
Yeah.
Usually it comes more into play of like when battle copters have to harass infantry, that the counterattack on the luck will just destroy you, because the battlecopter will run up, hit the infantry on the city, and do 500 worth of damage, and you'll lose a hit point on your battlecopter, so you'll lose 900 in value, and it's rough.
Yeah, and I think like the fact that there's no comm tower makes Luxio actually much better here, right? Because
that's true.
My first strikes do less damage, which means your luck damage is gonna hit back harder.
That's
also,
true.
like, luck can allow you to do 2-hit KOs sometimes, like if you get lucky, right? Whereas other COs simply don't have that. You can always like go for the roll. Like if I go for it, I just always lose.
Yeah, it does give you more opportunities. And when you're playing Luxios, you of course have to go for the opportunities. Otherwise, like, you'll miss every shot you don't take. Basically, you just have to make sure that you don't go for anything that loses you too much unit count, because you always need to have a large number of units available to go for lots of rolls when you have your powers active.
I was talking to Raider El Caro man, like this was ages ago though, like during the first Manx Grandmaster tourney. His opinion on Luxio is like you're not actually supposed to like spam tank, and you didn't in this game. What you're supposed to do is you get like lots of copters, so like it's a lot of copter on copter fighting, which you mentioned like it's really good for Luxios because they can shred copters on power turns as well as like, you know, on counterattacks.
Yeah.
The other thing he said is like it's really good if you tech really fast into heavy tanks, because luck damage will allow you to like shred enemy heavy tanks, so they don't really want to get into like that kind of game against you.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's definitely one of the big tactics. I think going copters matters more than the heavy tanks, just because of how good artillery are on this map. But yeah, I agree.
I also think battlecopters they are faster and they can move around, and I think it's easier for them to strike several times if there's no anti-air, of course. But I think medium tank are just very slow. That's my biggest issue with them. Even if they are good, they are strong. I think battlecopters are just better. So
they have their cases, yeah.
Let's move on with the replay, guys. You are in control of the basing, Kantbei, I think.
Alright. Turn 1, no mech builds, so we're off to a good start.
And no base skips.
And here, like, I was also shocked that Go7 didn't build a single mech, because I've been looking at his recent games, and it's always been like, you know, really fast mechs. So I was expecting like to fight 50 mechs by turn 10 or something.
That would be classic.
Classic Go7.
So I think we've already diverged here. No, we haven't.
No, we're still doing the same thing.
I thought about diverging here, but
what was your thoughts here? Like, go for the city first?
Other side would be going onto the missile platform to go for the middle city really early, so that even a.
Right.
Well, because I was worried about
here and then here.
Yeah, because that would be like force a recon. I figured. And then I could like go back and then wait for a tank to show up, and that would have delayed your infantry production. But I decided against it.
Well, it does force a recon, but you also don't get the city, and like you lose out on like you don't cap this city one turn late. You get hit here, so it's like 1500 damage for like a recon. Oh, you get the first tank timing. Though.
I wouldn't go for the city. I'd walk down,
and then walk backwards.
Yeah, once you build the recon in response.
I see. Okay, that's an interesting line.
I decided against it.
That. Yeah.
But I thought about it because it would be like effectively, it's almost like killing an infantry from across the screen.
Yeah, you sacrifice like 1k income,
1K,
but you also like damage me somehow. That's kind of like an interesting gambit play. I've never thought about that.
Yeah, I thought about it, but in the end, I decided not to do so because I was going to do more income delay stuff.
I think this was part of like our first major deviation. Like I went for this city instead of going to the silo tile. I think you went to the silo tile immediately, right?
That's right. Because I saw how contested the middle was.
So this is like the first major difference, and it's actually like pretty important because I think this infantry movement actually was one of the deciding factors in the game. Like he got these two cities pretty easily as a result. And I never got this city. Like for like the entire game, I never got this city. This city got contested pretty heavily, which forced a lot of fighting here, which you obviously don't want as the one base player.
Yeah.
So, like this infantry movement was, I think, pretty important.
Yeah, and with this timing, if you build a recon, I can build a tank.
Yeah.
Instead of walking backwards.
There's actually like I think some openings here I've seen in other games. I don't know how good it is, but you actually like put the second infantry here as P1 because on this turn, if I didn't build this infantry, I could go tank, right? So like if you went recon, I can base skip tank, and like that's one of the ways some people play this opening.
I can see it.
So, like you can see, because his infantry is here a turn earlier than mine, right? I actually cannot delay this capture. Like, I can't hit even with infantry. So even if I wanted to delay it, I can't.
Yeah, and if you could, you would.
Yeah.
That's the two base versus one base side. And then this was another thing that we split on, is that you went down on the side, and I went to the left. And that's because I thought that you could very easily stop me from capping that side property.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like how you went up with that infantry instead of going over to the right for the safer properties, and I'm able to interrupt it. And then you were forced to move on to that mountain to try and support him, which also delays your back captures, or just your capture game in general.
Yeah, in general, like I tend to play this map like very focused on the back captures and then like push towards the middle, but I do think like there's a lot of merit in what you're doing, where you fight for like the contested cities first, especially on your 2-base side.
Yeah.
Because like once those cities are taken, it's really hard to flip them. Like that's the thing I noticed when we were playing.
Oh yeah, it's like impossible.
Like, artillery locks one of the bases super fast. I mean, like one of the cities, like this city gets locked really fast from either side. And then the artillery here can be supported by like an instant tank build, so like you just never break this position really, right? So like once the artillery lock is set, this is just completely lost. Like you'll never get this again.
I agree. It's just because they're so close. It's one turn of movement.
I think like potentially like this tank build from me was a mistake. I think it might have been better for me to like go tank on the left side immediately, to immediately begin like mirroring the pressure you're putting, and then maybe like a recon here on the right. Although I don't know if I could actually afforded it, but that I think that might have been better.
Yeah, I could see double recon maybe. I can understand why you didn't want to go tank on the left, because then you're engaging me in a vehicle combat on the 2v1.
Mm-hmm.
You could have gone artillery, I guess. That would be really early artillery.
Early artillery could work.
Speaking about the artillery, I don't think it was good because I covered one of the replays and someone opened artillery, and that was really hard because there was a lot of pressure on it, and that was a bit too early. I mean, at this stage in the game, it's tank recon. There's not enough walls to protect the artillery, so the guy still kept his artillery around, but he did use a lot of resources just to keep it out of danger, you know? So I don't think that's a good idea in this map based on what I've seen.
Yeah, I think the other thing, right, is like because of your infantry positioning, Go7, like you've sent 2 infantry forward already, you have a tank out already, and you're gonna send this other infantry forward, I'm pretty sure.
That's right.
You already have like a lot of units to like help clear the path to get a strike on the artillery, which is why I was like very hesitant to go artillery. Like if this was just like 1 in forward, I would consider artillery, right? Because like the other 2 infantry are like a bit like a turn slower getting to the front, which matters a lot because it's the difference between you wall break me and hit the artillery, or you just barely fail to get the wall break and I can reinforce in time. So a lot of like these small considerations matter based on like how aggressive your infantry are positioning. This is like primarily why I didn't go artillery in this game.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like mid-game, I think artillery are really strong, but you need to like have some kind of wall somewhere, and you just chill behind your wall. When there's no wall yet, it's not a good idea.
Did you expect the recon?
I was actually pretty surprised by the recon, but it makes a lot of sense in hindsight. I only have infantry here so far, right? So like I'm never gonna be overtaking you in tank count in the short term. So like the recon basically gets a free hit on the infantry every turn, right? As long as like we're even on tank count. The other thing is like the recon immediately hits this city. The tank doesn't do that, and like you already have like a lot of units, so you're increasing the pressure on this city, which makes a lot of sense. And yeah, like if I start matching you vehicles, then we just start matching vehicles here. Like then we both run out of infantry. Probably nothing gets captured, and that's good for you because this is your 2 base side. And eventually, like this base will get the infantry active, and you'll have an infantry majority. And if I just keep trading off infantry, I'm gonna have like basically nothing to wall for my stuff. So it makes a lot of sense. I didn't think about it, but yeah, I think it was the correct build, and I think it kind of mirrors my earlier thoughts. Like I said a turn ago, like maybe I should have gone tank here, recon on the right. It's kind of like a similar idea to like this opening, although this obviously like more pressure.
Yeah, it's like I ignore your tank build, and I'm just like, no, I insist. I insist we have a vehicle fight over here. Yeah, and then of course the back infantry moving forward instead of going for the other back cap, I think is a really big thing.
You mean like this infantry?
No, like going up to my penguin that just walked past my base.
Oh, this one. This one.
Yeah. Because you can see like the difference of having 3 infantry on that front and 2 infantry like you do.
Yeah,
it makes a huge difference.
I agree with that. Like the early, especially like if there's a lot of early fighting, having that 1 extra infantry can be like very crucial to like. Do you clear a wall? Do you get a wall break and hit the relevant units, or you fail a wall break, right? Yeah. Or like, are you able to wall in time or not? So like, they seem minor, but it's really important for like tactics, especially like at high level games. Which you can consider this to be like fairly high level.
Yeah.
These small tactical considerations matter a lot.
they do, and you have to think about like, instead of me committing that back infantry and reducing an infantry on this side, I'm reducing an infantry in the middle by having the infantry from the base go back. But that's okay because the middle fight still has quite a ways before it actually starts. So I can afford to do that.
Yeah, that's fair. It's basically like you're giving up. You're giving up some tempo later for some early tempo now, but I think that's still completely fine for you.
So like I guess you could respond with really being aggressive in the middle because I'm going to be an infantry down in comparison to you. But that's a hard call to make, and there's a lot of pressure being put on you.
Also, like I don't think it's even good if I try to play aggressive in the center because of like how my tanks are situated, right?
Yeah.
Like I have one tank here and I have one tank here. Your tank is already here and you have a tank here. You're gonna be like, if I attack the center, like this is the obvious target here. Both of your tanks are gonna be arriving at this area a lot sooner than my two tanks can. Like this tank will arrive faster, but your two tanks will push me out. And then like my tank will be maybe here and here, right? And your two tanks are here. So like it's kind of like the old adage of, you know, death ball your stuff, right? Like in standard it still happens. This is the application, right? If you have two tanks in a central location and my tanks can't centralize to match you, I kind of just get bullied on both sides and I can't really get anything done.
Yeah. It's true. And that was a very important move back with that infantry because you actually had a really nice play available to you where you would you could kill him on the property and then block it with a capture.
So right? It would be like this tank hits from here, I guess, and then this infantry hits here, and then capture here. But you can strike me, no?
Yeah, I can still first strike you, but you get my city.
That's true.
But now you can't do that because he can now he can deny it. Yeah. Otherwise he would die, and then you can take my city.
The other thing here is like this infantry is like actually super annoying because it forces my tanks to stay in this area to like support this capture. And actually, like I don't even think I can support this capture. Like there's no way for this tank to block this infantry without giving up a first hit, which is obviously like really bad. Like I can put the tank here, right, and then I get this city, but then you first strike my tank, and that's not good. Like I might be losing this city as a result of that. So
that's true.
It's actually like really, really tricky.
And he's in the forest too. It's so annoying.
Yeah. And I guess like this is the other thing, right? Like because you're Jugger, I'm a lot more hesitant to hit your infantry on terrain with vehicles because I might be eating like one counterattack damage.
I know,
and
it
then
tells
when your
you every time.
Your tank comes in and hits me, and it might like a 10 HP and a 9 HP tank. The difference could be like me doing 2 damage back or 1 damage back, and I could go from like either. Like, if I'm at 10 HP, I might go to, like, 5 HP, usually, right? If I'm at 9 HP, I'd probably go to, like, 3 HP. Because of, like, how terrain defense works and everything. So it's actually pretty big if I lose 1 HP here.
It's scary.
And then here, like, I decided, okay, I know your plan is probably to, like, converge your tanks here, but I have to like try to find some counterplay. So I thought I could position my tank a bit more aggressively, maybe to like, you know, I don't know, scare these infantry off or something. Actually, maybe this tank move wasn't so good, but there's really not a whole lot I can do with it, to be honest. Like, what else can it really do? Staying here doesn't help. Maybe I can park on this city, but you probably just hit me, to be honest, right? Like you hit me with the tank and then you build another tank.
Yeah.
And then I'm probably losing that trade. So like there's really not a whole lot this tank can do. So other than like, you know, forcing you to like come here actually, and then this tank is maybe free on the left side to like push you back, although it's not even clear it can really do that. Like even so you can see from like all these early game decisions we're making, day 7 the game's actually like already much worse for me. Even though like materially we're about the same.
Yeah, you can see you're ending your turn even with me in economy, which is really bad.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I will say this, at that point, I think I took a look at your game because here and there I was doing back and forth through each single game. And at that point I was like, what's going on with Go7? His timer is getting low. It's getting low. And I was like, that will be very interesting to cover it. And I like what I see and I like what I hear. You guys are great. So why double artillery, Go7?
Well, the double artillery are to lock down the contested properties, and we can rewind a little bit. This after I do this tank attack on his infantry in the forest, Kantbei sent me a message in the strategy channel that was I think it was, "Are these trades even good for you?" Is that what you said?
Yeah, I said something like, "Are you sure these trades are good for you?" Because I saw this hit and I was like, "What the hell's going on here? Isn't this just a free first tank hit? Like, I can hit from here and like this tank doesn't support." So I was looking at that and was like, okay, so this trade on the right and this hit on my in for the recon are probably good. The recon is like maybe a little bit suspect, but honestly, the recon's not gonna do anything. You might as well get damage done, right?
And you only have 2 infantry there, so.
Yeah, that's true. But eventually I get the city, right? But yeah, so like the recon hit is fine. It was this tank hit which made me like really curious because I was like, okay, you hit an infantry and you get this capture, but don't I just like hit your tank and then you're down a tank, like you're down half a tank as a result? So I was like really curious if this trade was actually good for you because I think you might have been fine if you just did not give up this hit, for example, and then just allowed me to either take the city or. I don't think I can even contest this, to be honest, because like, if I contest it, you have 2 tanks and an infantry coming pretty soon, right? Like, yeah, you have an infantry coming. Like, I don't think I can even realistically contest this, even if you don't do this. So it's really just a question of do you want to give me this city or not?
Well, I think you could definitely contest it because you're gonna have another infantry in the middle because I of course delayed my middle infantry, and you can swing your tanks together pretty effectively. I don't know if you would go for the denial, but you can like leave the right side.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go for the deny, to be honest, because I think like Cole probably does better late game versus Jugger because of like the +1 move. Like if we go into like pure stall, the +1 move, right, the +2 move gives me a lot more attacking options than you do. Like you have like some weird wall break stuff, so it's still kind of okay for you, right? But there are some like tactical stuff I can do with the plus movement that you can't.
It's very true.
Potentially favors me. So I was like, my mindset was like, okay, I'm just gonna drag this out to late game and then hopefully the plus move saves my ass or something. Like I don't think I'm gonna win on tactics because that's not like. So like if you were Starflash, right? Starflash would never go for this hit. The reason for that is he knows me so well. He knows that I'm never going to try to fight him on tactics. So if a certain line requires like a lot of tactical calculation, I probably won't go for it and I'll just go for a safer play.
Well, yeah. And this does of course deny that property and guarantee I get mine. So I've figured in like 3 turns, because you're not going to be able to I'm not going to lose any presence from the tank being hit. Because the artillery are already going to get set up to lock the properties I care about. And you're not going to be able to finish off the tank. You can very easily go back, and this secures me a very solid income advantage for 4 hit points.
Well, isn't it 5?
Is it 5 hit points down? Well, I think you hit me down to 4, and I hit you down to 8. So you net 4 tank HP on me.
Okay, that's what I was about to say. I see that airport still neutral. I'm like, what's going on with that? But now we see Kantbei capping, so that's fine. It's back on track.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I net 4 HP, but then. Yeah. Okay. I guess like maybe the trade's fine for you. The reason I wouldn't go for it personally is because if you go for like this double RT style, you're already gonna be down tanks. Do you really want to be down tanks even more? Personally, like I don't feel comfortable playing that board state, but you know it worked out for you, so obviously there is some ideas here if the pressure isn't correct. From this position, I was thinking like, okay, I'm down income, but maybe this is okay for me, and then I completely blunder the next turn. So this infantry has been like super annoying because like I can never get the city now, and you just keep applying pressure here. Actually,
I do. It's because you. I have to like split your forces.
Yeah. So now you can see like when I saw this position, I was very. Actually, I think I never get the city now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I never get the city.
You can never get the city. Yeah.
All of your plays here were better than mine, just because like I never got the city. And then we did a join cap, and I thought like this was actually like, okay, I get the city for sure now, right? Like, surely Go7 is not going to sack a tank for to deny a cap, and like even if he does, like surely it doesn't work, right?
I was so happy when I saw you join cap. I was like, yes, another unit count.
Yeah, I just didn't do the damage calc. I thought like this was safe. I didn't realize that a tank kit could actually get this down low enough that you could deny it. And the other thing I was thinking, I remember, is that, okay, you already gave up like 1 tank first hit. You have 3 artillery, right? Versus like right now I have 5 tanks to 3 essentially.
Yeah.
Well, on this side, like I have 3 tanks to 1 and like 1 artillery. Surely Go7 is not going to attack another tank first hit just to deny a city, which I think I should get. Like that was my thought process for the longest time. So like I thought like, okay, I'm now gonna get this. I just have to join cap and it's mine. Whereas if I pull it off and then cap, like you'll probably sack the 4 HP and to delay for another turn and be super annoying.
Yeah.
And then this is the mistake, I think. Going for this infantry, I think was actually like the biggest mistake outside of the opening that probably lost me the game. So
I was surprised.
From this, yeah. Because this tank hit is actually not safe. The reason for that is you can actually like block this tank in, right? With like recon and infantry or whatever. And in order for me to like make this safe, I have to put this other tank here to protect, like to prevent any kind of like blocking strategies. The problem is I've just committed 2 tanks or 14,000 funds to do 500 damage to you. In a game state where I'm down income, so like I shouldn't be doing that. I want to be looking for dynamic damage. I don't want like one free hit and then I get stalled out to death. That's not gonna help me, right? So like after this tank hit, these 2 tanks actually like never get any damage done for the next like 2-3 turns, which is horrible. Because like that's my only advantage right now. I have more tanks, so I should be trying to deathball them in the mid somehow, and maybe playing in an area where your artillery can't catch up fast enough because I have more tanks, you have less tanks. I have to abuse the mobility advantage. If I allow you to just lock down every front by like putting my tanks in really bad strategic positions, right? Like in this case, it's the edge because the edge tanks like can't really affect this side. They have to run really far. Then I don't really have a tank advantage anymore, and then you will use your superior income to build either a medium tank or copters or like just catch up on tank count. Because like we have like a 4k difference right now is pretty significant. You'll use that advantage like equalize on tanks, and then I'm completely dead in the mid game because I have no compensation, right? Like right now my only compensation is I have more tanks, but if I don't do something with those, I'm dead.
Yeah.
So this is
you've got a timer on you.
Yeah, this is like I think a game losing mistake. This move on the left side.
I understand why you did it though. You were looking at how annoying that formation is. You're like, there is one thing that's not protected.
Yeah,
but it's also
I was thinking like
risky.
I need to like get some damage in because like I have more tanks. Surely this is free, right? But I think this is kind of like a high level trap because yes, it's free, but you have to evaluate: is this the best thing your tank could be doing, right? And it's really hard to evaluate these things. But you have to consider: is this the best thing my tank could be doing? And honestly, this is not the best use of my tanks, which is why this is pretty losing, right?
Yeah.
Like, if my tanks had actually done nothing that turn and just waited, that would have been an objectively better move than what I did here. That's how bad this move was.
They'd be in a better position. And,
yeah,
I mean, that's scary chip damage, too.
So, Kantbei, actually, Go7, I got a question for you right now. You have the income lead. So what if you decide to build a medium tank instead of the battle copter you just built? Do you think that could be a good idea? Why didn't you go taking up because Cole doesn't have the money to take up. So you would force him into having battle copters or artillery to counter your medium tank. Because you got the income lead. Why you didn't consider medium tank?
Well, a medium tank can be well, there's a few reasons. Firstly, he's going to start getting battlecopters, and medium tanks are not very effective against battlecopters. He's also low on money, and one of the great things to get when you're low on money, but you still have like a decent unit count, is artillery, which are good against medium tanks. But what I really want in the luck war, for as long as I can, is to just get more units than him, so that I have more opportunities to get my luck rolls. And so that's why I want to build out of my airport. I could get a medium tank. It would limit me on where I can apply the pressure. And I don't actually need it on the right side. I could build it on the left side, but I've already achieved all my goals over there. So I don't see a medium tank being good here, because there's nothing I want to push into. I'd rather have the more mobile force and more units.
I like a lot your answer, and I asked you that question because I know you're high level, and I fully agree with your playstyle right now. But the main reason why I asked that, it's because in lower elo, and I've seen that in many of the games in lower elo, because in this tournament we got 700s, we got 900s, we got 1200s, we got a lot of everything, and that was the point of the tournament, and this is what I like the most. I've seen a lot of take-up stuff in lower elo, and sometimes I was like, that's not really the right thing to do, and what if he decided to like go hard in the battlecopters? How the game would turn out to be. So for you to use like battlecopter and tank like that, it tells you like the difference between you, like the first one in Fog, and someone that didn't play that much the game and that is not that skilled or something like that, if you know what I mean. So this is very interesting to get your perspective, and this is why I asked that question to you. Now I will ask the same question to Kantbei. If you got something different to say or another perspective to help out understanding why it's not, or if let's say you like medium tank and Go7 shoes, do you like Go7 having, for example, medium tank with his money?
Yeah, I don't really like medium tank here, for much of the same reasons Go7 said. The other thing I'd add is I really like the copter build because he actually got his airport a turn earlier than me, because like how the capture phase played out. And getting the copter first can actually be like quite relevant, because like the best move for the copter is always you go here. You stream down, like full move towards the center, and your opponent will likely do the same. But because he gets his copter first, that means by the time my copter is here, his copter is here, and he can just build a second copter, and then this copter will go here, and another copter comes here, and then my copter can no longer infiltrate into like his airport side. So like one of the mid-game strategies on this map is like, or like really any map, but this map in particular, is you win the copter war somehow, or like your opponent doesn't build copters, right, because they don't think it's good. And then you just use your copters to be like super annoying everywhere. Because like once your copters are here, you need like so much stuff to answer them, honestly. Like you need an AA here and then a copter here to zone it out, but then this copter is deadlocked in this area, like it can't harass here because there's a copter here that it has to watch out for. It gets super complicated, right? So getting copter out first here is honestly really good. The other thing, like he said, is because, you know, it's just more unit count. More unit count is always good. He already has like quite an interesting, like, he has sufficient tanks already, like with the artillery backup, as long as he doesn't fuck up his walling, and honestly, I don't think he will. Then like copter is really good because it forces me to build an AA when I can't really afford it, right? And then the other thing is like if I get dragged into like a copter arms race, he's always gonna win because he has 3k more, right? And the income threshold doesn't allow me to get a copter. If I get a copter, I can't build a tank, which means he equalizes on tanks. So like any play I do here, build-wise, is basically like it's the difference between like, do I have a worse position or an even worse position, right? Like there are no good positions for me from this build, which is why like the copter is like actually really strong.
It's scary. And if you're speaking of the wall, I had to, even though my tank knocked your capping infantry to 4 health, so it wouldn't be able to capture next turn, I still had to sacrifice my 4 health infantry into it, because otherwise you would have been able to hit my walling infantry and sacrifice your 4 health guy into it, which would lower the infantry's health enough that one of your tanks could kill it, and then you could sneak tanks past me and kill my artillery.
I mean, I don't think that's a good attack though, right? Like, yes, I hit the artillery, but you kill the tank, and then I don't have a follow-up attack. So I'm not sure like that's even good for me.
You've got your artillery to come up.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, so like my tank will hit from here. These 2 tanks, like this will be 8 HP next turn. These 2 will surely be able to kill. These infantry will wall this side, so there's no attack here. And then the tank hits the artillery, and surely that's fine for you.
No, because you've got more support that you get to bring in for it.
I guess so. Like I guess if like I full move everything here, there's like some tactics like that. So
right, because there's a
yeah. Yeah, I see it. I actually think like it's actually like possible for me to like kill this infantry, the 7 HP one with a tank. Might be possible, right?
You're on the plane.
You
can,
but
the tower and you're on the plane.
No. You can kill that. You can't kill it with an infantry, but you can kill it with a tank. But you put yourself in artillery range.
There's no tower. I don't think so. There's no tower. That's the thing. And this is
a tank will still kill 7, I think. I know an infantry won't. Without a tower.
I know with a tower, but I'm not quite sure. Okay. 7.
We can ask the almighty damage calculator.
Almighty damage calculator.
So it's a luck roll, but it's a pretty good luck roll. So I can kill it. The problem is like, so this is actually like when I was looking at this board state, I was actually like pretty impressed because like this is such a beautiful wall. The only way I can like hit this artillery is from this tile actually, or this tile, right? Like I have either killed this or killed this tank, but then I run into another artillery, and then like his tank first hits my other tank, right? And then it's basically just completely doomed. So like the only attacking tiles are covered by this second artillery, so it's actually like a really impressive formation from Go7.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and like I probably can't even come up with these. Like I'm really bad at walls.
So there's one
I don't think I would
hit. I think I don't know if you go for it. There's one free hit.
It's this infantry, right?
Yeah,
probably.
But it's like not that free because you are kind of walking into the belly of the beast.
I don't think it's really good because if I hit it like from here, your tank first strikes me from a city.
Yeah.
And you know, there's always like the chip damage risk, and then don't you just park like an artillery behind the tank? And I'm kind of like, okay, now what do I do?
Yeah, like, you'd have to slam into it with a bunch of like infantry and tanks and stuff. But it's not good.
It's not great.
It's so risky.
Especially since like I have 2 cities still uncapped. Like if I trade off too many infantry here. Maybe I just never get these cities, so it seems very risky. I mean, like I'm already losing, so maybe it was actually like the correct play, but it's a kind of thing where like I don't know if I can calculate this well enough to know if this is good or not. Plus, like
I think what you did was right. I think you just go mid and take that city.
Yeah. So like, I think you actually like find a wall break here. Even like I'm pretty sure you injure this artillery. So yeah, like, now I just
for a wall break here, but it didn't work out. I go for a wall break here because you're leaving the side, so I have to pressure you to stay.
So I'd like to ask you, Kantbei. You see he has a battle copter. Why didn't you go anti-air?
So basically, I was working under the probably mistaken paradigm that if we go copter into copter, I'm about to get my COP. Maybe I can first strike his copters. with the +1 move, right, and zone him out that way. But you know, obviously he's a Luxio, so maybe that's not the correct answer. That's basically it. The other thing is like if I go AA here, the first AA on this map doesn't answer the first copter. That's the thing. If the AA is here, if the copter is here, my AA will go here this turn, right? But then this copter has a free hit somewhere here. Like it probably can free hit this infantry. Does this cover? Okay, so it just barely covers, right? But because like I don't feel like I control the center really well enough to like follow the copter around. That's why I didn't go for the AA immediately. Maybe it was actually like more correct. Now that in hindsight. But yeah, like when I was playing the game, I didn't think like the AA response would cover everything in time. What did you think, Go7? Do you think
about the
AA is
AA?
better?
I think the copters. I think copters are good. I was kind of trying to force you to go AA, but so that I wouldn't have to deal with your copters. But I think copters good if you want to actually win the game. Otherwise, you'd be like the AA is very defensive, and you can't really afford to be defensive when you're down 3K.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess like the only utility of the AA is like surprise wall break against your artillery,
That's true.
right? Like the AA can one hit KO an infantry, and then obviously if you one hit KO something, it doesn't do counter attack damage, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I
spent 3 days up to the 2-hour mark. Not constantly, not the like 24/7, but periodically, trying to figure out a way for me to deny this capture from you, and I just couldn't find a good attack that didn't get absolutely clobbered the next turn. So
yeah, because
you got your city. I know. Yeah, it was.
So, I was
tried
pretty
so hard.
happy when I got this.
I will say this. I like both of your answers, even if it's basically the same. I like it a lot. And I asked that question because here again, I've seen many players thinking battlecopter, anti-air. And even if it's a good response, battlecopter on battlecopter, I think it's a bit better in most cases. So people tend to overlook that.
Kill.
That's why asking around to two really strong players is always the welcome, you know?
Yeah. I was shocked when you killed that tank in one hit. It's 7
roll, baby.
That was such a high roll.
I think like you took a lot of chip damage. That's the thing.
And then, it was definitely a low 7. It was definitely a low 7, but still.
But yeah, like I think maybe this attack on the left side wasn't so good. Like I think all tanks should have just been streaming to like this side immediately upon knowing that the engagement was happening. Because like what's happening now is I have 2 tanks here that are hitting infantry instead of doing something useful. And then like you actually like do a tactic here that I didn't even consider. You just sacked your copter basically to hit my tank.
Yeah, it's not a sack, it's a trade. Yeah.
Yeah, you trade your copter off to like hit my tank, and then like my copter hits you, but then you're like, okay, then I build an AA, and then you're so what, right? Like I didn't realize like you would have done that. Also, like I gave you power. That's the other thing. Like I'm giving you power into an engagement where all you're in for like, wow, sure it would be nice if I could hit your tank and do 3 damage.
Yeah. I think even my rolls aren't even great on this power, but it's like it's fine.
You also get like the +10 defense. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So sad that I don't get this.
I'm surprised you didn't go for like the artillery kill. To be honest, like I think I would have gone for an artillery kill here.
With my tank.
With your artillery.
Oh, with my artillery, I did think about that. But I felt like I just get immediately
counter attack damage right on the tank if you do that. I guess it's just fine.
The odds were pretty good that I would be able to kill your tank, and then I could attack your artillery from the missile platform with an infantry. But my gosh, that tank just did not die. It sucked up artillery, tank, and infantry.
You got like some of the worst rolls you could have gotten on this attack, and honestly, like it's still fine for you. Like you took this tank up to 3 HP, like
I did
from this
better
turn,
on the
like I
left
think
side.
I think I saw this and I was like, okay, I think I'm dead. And the unit count is gonna lie to people for a while because it's gonna look like I'm really far ahead at a certain point when actually I'm not.
So here we got an interesting question in the chat. The question
Oh.
is, increase firepower on road. Is that good? Go7, you can go first.
You're talking about the coal power? It is very good on this map, as you can see. There's lots of road around very key locations, and it's going to allow him to get kills that you wouldn't normally be able to get, and it's also going to let him get a really good copter strike.
Kantbei, what is your answer of increase firepower on road? Is that good?
It's better than nothing, but it's really not that great. The problem with firepower from road is like 0-star terrain is like the worst terrain in the world to attack from, right? Because like every other terrain star beats you, you get no defense. It's unlike Jake where if with Jake with the planes, like you still get like the 10 defense stars from the terrain. So the calculation is actually it's better for Jake to hit from a plane than from a forest, right? The only time like Jake wants to hit from terrain is if you're on a city or better. Like that's the only time you'll think about potentially not hitting from a plane. With Cole, it's often better to just hit from a forest rather than hit from the road because of like how the damage calculation ends up being, and like because you take so much counterattack damage, it's almost not worth it unless it's like a superpower turn. So like it's obviously like still better than no attack bonus whatsoever, right? Like it's better than Adder if Adder had like a power bar similar to Cole, right? Like obviously you just be better Adder. The difference is Adder has a 2-star COP, which is very important, rather than 3-star.
I thought you might go for the super here.
Yeah, I think this is actually a mistake that I didn't go for the super. Now that I'm reviewing this game, I just played too fast. I'm realizing I was actually super close to the super. And what that allows me to do is this copter can actually... Well, okay, this copter can't hit this.
Yeah, I made sure.
But it can hit from here.
Yeah, it can
and
still
then...
get
Yeah, okay. I mean, okay, so this copter will one-hit KO this, though, with the super. That's pretty important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I should have gone for a super. Like, probably sack a tank or something. I'm pretty sure I can get it. But yeah, I just go for the COP. I didn't think about my turn very well.
Now we got another
and then
question
I'm just like
here. Another interesting one. Do you think this map have strong airport? Go7, you're first.
It has a very strong airport because it's in the center of the map. It's back a bit, but because it's in the center, it can force a response from both sides. Instead of like if it was just like purely on the right side, then they can always like build an anti-air on that side and be totally fine. But since it's in the center, you move straight down, and then you can threaten both sides at the exact same time. And that's what makes it strong.
I like this response. Do you have anything else to say about that question being, do you think map have strong airport? Kantbei a year ago now.
Yeah, it's pretty strong for the reasons Go mentioned, like it can go down center. The other thing is because there are a lot of forest tiles on key terrain, right? So like front switching is actually not that easy on this map because of like how the forests and mountains are laid out. And whenever like forests and mountains make it hard to like switch, copters can outrun an AA. So like an easy trick, if like you're never sure if like airport is strong, basically you ask yourself, do I want an artillery on this map at some point? If your answer is yes, air is probably strong. Because like all the terrain features which make air good also make artillery good, which is also why like copters counter artillery, because like copters can hit from angles the artillery isn't expecting.
Thank you for these details. Amazing things. So do you have anything else to add before we move on?
No, I think that's good.
Yeah.
How are you feeling at this point?
I thought like, okay, like I lied to myself and said, okay, this is probably good for me, right? I'm up 10 units somehow.
Yeah.
A miracle of miracles. I have 21 infantry to 12. Surely this is now winning for me, even though I'm 2k down. But like I said, the unit count is gonna lie to you.
Yeah,
Here,
I haven't hit
because
that
after
yet.
like 2 turns, it's not like you make it back up so quickly. It's not that I took like bad trades or something. Like I think the trades were pretty okay. Maybe SCOP would have changed some of them, but like I don't think it would have been significantly different. That this exact same situation doesn't happen. Maybe just slightly better. Like you can see how quickly like you win back so much of the unit count that you'd think I was winning, but actually I'm not.
Yeah. And there we go.
So like if we
now I'm back
look
ahead.
at
Oh, now it's even. Yeah.
yeah, so like now we're like it was like 25-24. So like after one turn of trades, we're even again. And like after that turn I realized, okay, I'm probably completely lost now because like my only advantage at that point was I had more unit count somehow, and it didn't even work out. So
Yeah.
because of that, like this is just kind of doomed.
You can never trust that stuff when you're in the middle of a brawl.
Yeah, because it's so volatile, right? It changes so fast.
Yeah. And my recon's like so valuable now. It's
Yeah,
healed up.
because like your recon is just like eating all of the infantry. Like every turn it's hitting plus it's healing, which
Yep.
is very good. And then here like we try our best here. Like this was a funny wall I did.
It was a
so,
funny
like,
wall.
these tanks utilized. There's like probably a way to clear this, to be honest, but like I thought it was nice to do.
Yeah. I thought it was clever. I think I could have. I thought you might be banking that I would just like super low roll, and not be able to clear it. But I didn't want to. Yeah. I wanted to stay out of your AA's range with a normal power, because I knew you weren't going to have enough power charge to get your super without some very serious sacrifices.
Will I still
So-
get my superpower this turn? Or no,
You
I went
could
for
if
the COP thing.
You
I'd have to
could get your
sacrifice a
super.
copter.
You'd have to sacrifice more than a copter. You need 14,550.
Some tanks and then a copter, probably.
You get like the 8 health copter and then like the 2 5 health tanks. It's like you have to sacrifice a lot, and then when you have to do that kind of stuff, it's like that many fewer units that you have to actually get the buff on. And like the big win you get is that you can kill 2 copters, but you had to sacrifice a copter and 2 tanks to do it, so it doesn't feel great.
I don't even kill the copters, right? Like I can't hit this from our road, so it's going to be like
It's true.
I
It's still
hit a
alive.
but you're gonna do counter damage back. So yeah, like from this position, like it's basically actually already lost. Like it was honestly lost like 3 turns ago. I just didn't realize it yet. Here it was like, okay, this is obviously completely over. I'm just gonna play it out just so like it's obvious to people watching why I resigned. But yeah, like from this point on, like I knew it was already over. And then
That was such a sketchy hit.
Yeah, I was like, why did I take that hit? In hindsight, why did I just put my copter in front of an AA? I think I was thinking something like, okay, I have 3 copters. He moves his
kill one,
his
the
AA
tanks
out.
kill
I
it.
kill the AA, and then like copters kill the tank, something like that. But then you just pop your power and just completely neutralize that because, again, this someone in like Master Kanbei's Discord was asking the other day, why does Jugger get free AA? Basically, this turn that you're about to see is gonna be the reason, right? Like if we forward to like his turn, he pops his COP. Well, he kills a copter first to get more charge because that attack.
It's important to do
matter.
that before the COP,
Yeah.
because it's guaranteed before and it's not guaranteed after. Because of the
Oh,
luck
right,
rate.
because you're Jugger.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's
No, I was
important to-
thinking of it from like a charge analysis, right? Like if you
Yeah,
want to
that
maximize
too.
your charge,
Yeah.
so you take the hits that you can, that you're sure of, like the power doesn't matter for it,
Yeah.
and to maximize your charge, and then you pop your power on the attacks where the charge matters. But
It's
yeah,
just,
like your Jugger, so like it matters because like you might not get it because of like a bad luck.
Yeah.
Anyway, here you just like start this, like look at this, right? Like you take 1 HP, you take
4
4
HP.
HP. Like
That's
your
right.
infantry just become anti-air on your turn. Like it's ridiculous. My AA just gets completely demolished. And then you do another hit with a 5 HP infantry and take another 3 HP.
Yeah, they're
Here
scary.
you do like 2 HP. Like you just shred my copters, and this is why like Jugger was actually a really good pick here. Because the air is strong, but there's no comm tower. The infantry and the recons just shred the copters, so you can actually like get away with like a low AA count, and like your copters just go fuck off on the other side of the map, and it's still like completely fine for you. My copters don't threaten you. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's brutal. Luxios, man, they break the game.
Yeah. And then here, like, I still did, like, 3 damage. This is just, like, why unit counters are so important. Like, even with 2 HP on a superpower, I managed, like, injure copters so badly. But, honestly, like, from this point on, there's basically, like, nothing I can do, to be honest. Like, my tanks are doing their best. My infantry is doing their best, but... like, look at my money here. Like, I build 1 copter and I can build 3 infantry. Like, it's just completely lost because you're getting this city for sure. Maybe I get this city, but I lose this city and then I probably lose my HQ in like the next 5 turns. Like
and all your units are gonna die.
Yeah, like my unit count's gonna plummet.
In the middle go over to the left. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like honestly, like, even if your copters go to the right and kill this, that's probably like winning even harder for you.
You think so? I could see it. I could see it.
Maybe like 1 copter here and then like 1 copter here. Like you basically want to first strike this tank is the thing. So like maybe clear this with like copter tank and then another copter clears this, right? So like I only have 4 infantry and like 4 infantry basically this turn, 5 after I build, and then this copter comes here to like help stabilize this front, and then you're winning both sides and it's just completely over.
Yeah. No, I agree. It was completely over.
So, thank you very much for these insight. Now, we have a few questions from me and maybe from the chat. We will see if they have any. The first one I got for you, starting by Go7. What is the biggest takeaway you can get from this game? Like, any new player, like, tell him, like, what's the most important thing about this game we just covered?
For a new player?
Yeah, or more experience, or like the biggest takeaway for anybody that just comes in and take a look, like what is the most important thing about the game you guys just played?
I would say the importance of contested properties is definitely the biggest takeaway from the game, because you'll see just how devastating it was for me to be 4K to 3K to 2K up the whole game. In fact, I don't think you can see the stat here, but at the end of the game, I was over a turn ahead in resources, basically, just because of how long I denied the. Oh, you can see it. So you generated 165,400. And this is on your turn. And I generated 172,400. And the way that the generation of funds works is you want to be half a turn ahead in the amount of money you've made. So in this case, he's half a turn behind, which correlates to being a full turn behind. And you can see just how devastating it is when you have a lot of contested properties denied to you over the game.
I like that response. Kantbei, what is yours? What is the thing you find the most important about this game you just played with Go7?
Yeah, I think I agree with Go7. The most crucial takeaway here is like, if for like more higher level players, probably this is where you start to like think about cap pace optimizations per map. And you can see like the rule that we usually tell beginners, right? The rule is just cap the closest cities to you and you're probably fine. Most maps this is true, but there are some maps where this isn't true, right? And this is one of those maps because of like how the bases are laid out, how quickly the fighting evolves. Certain cities you have to get by certain turns, and if you have to skip cities to do that. If you don't do it, then you end up like in a position where I am, where I basically just like went for, you know, maximizing my short-term income, ignoring my medium to long-term income. And that didn't work out, right? Because like certain cities just got denied forever. Like this got denied forever. This got denied forever. This got denied fairly long. I think this also got denied pretty long. So you can see like there is like benefit to like skipping captures once you get to like a higher level. And this is like a good like, you know, case sample of like why that's the case. But that that boils down to map knowledge, right? So like I wouldn't recommend that beginners focus on that because like you as a beginner you'll get a lot more from like, you know, learning correct builds, learning how to take correct engagements, that kind of thing. This really only matters at the super high level, where all of the, like you can expect your opponent to also be just as good, if not better than you in all of those aspects. Then you're trying to eke out advantages wherever you can, no matter how small.
Yeah, and it's important to remember that when you're going for these like city skips, like I was going, that doesn't hurt you in the medium to long term. It's only hurting you in the short term economically. Because you of course make up the money when you get the city you're going to earlier than you normally would. So
I guess the most important thing with honestly with the skips, right? Making sure your vehicles don't get delayed.
Yeah.
Right? Like if your tanks don't get delayed, it actually doesn't matter if you get the money now or later.
Exactly.
It's gonna be like it's gonna be fine in the long term. It's only like when a certain vehicle, like you fail to get like a certain tank on a certain turn without like base skipping, that's when like these income skips really really hurt you, because losing a tank in the early game or like failing to get it like the turn you need it, or like having to base skip for a tank, all of those can be like pretty devastating in how these fights develop. But if none of those things happen, like then it doesn't matter.
Exactly, it's a delicate balance.
Very interesting insight. Anything else to add more? That was an amazing replay so far. I guess
Copter's good.
Copter's good.
Copter's good.
Go7.
Good for new players. Copter's very good.
Copters are very good.
I think I had something to add here. You didn't make spam. Man, Go7.
I didn't make spam.
Go7! Anyway, that was amazing. I had a blast. Thank you to both of you. I know it's late for you, Go7, so I'm also tired actually. So, man, that was fun. Thank you for the both of you. Everyone, like, comment, and subscribe. Go7 channel in the description below. But if you're subscribed to me, I think you already subscribed to him because he has a bigger follow than me. Anyway, have a good day, everyone.